Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com, back here with another daily crypto update. Today I'm going to talk about what's going on with the general market. I wanted to do a bit of a recap here, and on top of that, we're going to cover, as per usual, our technical analysis here in just a second. And to get started with the recap, we haven't gotten much news over the past 2-3 days. We're really just letting the market do its thing here. And what ended up happening is after Bitcoin tested $6,000, we finally started to see some stabilization. Even the altcoins recovered a bit. Now, some of the smaller altcoins are struggling more, but overall, as you can see, right, over the past 24 hours, we're in much tamer percentage ranges. So, we don't have, minus 10, 15%. We're really hovering around, probably 2%, I'd say, right? Either to the upside or the downside, depending on the cryptocurrency. But it's much calmer, which I think is actually a good thing right now. However, it is a little bit the calm before the storm, because I don't think that we're going to go on like this for much longer, right? We're either going to move back higher or drop lower. And so I am expecting a more powerful move relatively soon, but I will talk about that during our technical analysis. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the actual technical analysis here for Bitcoin. So we have a couple things going on, right? And some bullish signs, some bearish signs. First off, we have expanding Bollinger Bands. And that basically means that we're leaving room for a bigger move, right? Of course, right now we don't know if that's going to be towards the upside or downside, but that is leaving some room to move. Now, what's interesting here is our upper Bollinger Band is significantly higher than where we're at now, and that usually tends to be more of a good thing. So that could mean that we're going to start moving higher again to get back towards that upper Bollinger Band. One thing that I wanted to point out is the low that we made over here is actually higher than the previous low back here. So that already creates a bit of an uptrend line. And now what's interesting is we have, for one, a bit of a symmetrical triangle that's forming. And on top of that, we have a new uptrend line, right, that could help support the price a little bit. So right now the indicators are still on the weaker side, especially the MACD and the histogram, but the RSI is managing to bounce off the 30 line, and we'll see how much higher it can go, but this is a good sign, right? So no doubt about it that $6,000 is a support level. We got good buying volume as well. Now the question is, since we got this bounce and we're testing our initial uptrend line over here, are we going to move lower, or are we going to be able to get a bit of a breakout? So I'm not paying too much attention to this initial downtrend line. I don't think it'll hold much longer. So I think that we'll be able to get out of that. And then the question is, we're in this a little bit of a bigger range of a symmetrical triangle formation again, where the end of that formation is actually right around $6,100. So that's probably where we would be heading next. And that's the point where we're either going to really break out of this secondary downtrend line, which is the more significant one, or move below our uptrend support and basically start dropping below $6,000, which would likely lead to a move down to $5,000. So, of course, there's no guarantee on what's going to happen next, and I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm just here to share my personal opinion. But I'd say that for now, we're probably going to be pretty calm. Some consolidation up until we reach the end of this formation, which once again is at around $6,100. And then we just have to see, right? Right now, it's very hard for me to tell if there's any, sign that's pushing me towards a direction specific. So we're going to look at some of the altcoins to see what's going on. One thing that I did want to mention is that Bitcoin dominance is at an all-time high for this year, above 50%. So it's increasing, and I expect it to increase even more. I think that Bitcoin overall is going to be strong into late 2018 and even early to mid 2019. I think that it's going to continue to be, one of the safer, stronger, sturdier cryptos out there. And I think that a lot of altcoins will struggle. Some will be able to do well, but I am expecting, the altcoins that don't have much value, that were basically just propped up off hype. I don't think those are going to last at all. I think that only the better altcoins will be able to remain, and some might even thrive, especially, mid to late 2019 is when I think we might see a pretty strong alt season. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Ethereum. And as we move on to the altcoins, we might get some idea of what's going to happen next to the market. keeping in mind that Bitcoin is obviously, holding up better right now than altcoins. So Ethereum, a little bit on the weaker side here. We do have a doji candlestick, which could signify a reversal. Indicator still very weak, still downtrending, and we are now below our longer-term downtrend line here. So if we're able to get back above that, I think we might make an attempt back at $360. However, I'm just not convinced that that will hold. I still have a pretty strong feeling that $273 is truly in the cards here for Ethereum. Up next, let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin, see what's going on. So Litecoin is in a very similar situation to Ethereum, and for that reason, even if we are able to get a bounce maybe to our downtrend line or back to $70, I think that our next stop is going to be a test of $45 here. So right now the sign is pointing towards Bitcoin dropping a bit, but overall, still holding up better than the altcoins here. Altcoins are still looking pretty weak with no true foundational support right now. Nano, I'm not counting on it to act strong whatsoever. It's just in full free fall mode. I'll go ahead and draw our downtrend line here. But really, Nano is very weak, has been very weak, and I don't see any reason why that should stop. So I think that we're going to be heading down to 10,000 Satoshis. We'll see if we get a bounce off that, but we could be heading even lower. Let's take a look at Ripple now, see what's going on. So Ripple is currently also getting a doji candlestick here, so very consistent pattern throughout the altcoins. But once again, right, we might get a bounce up to 30 cents. I like the fact that, we got a bit of a free fall that will create a bit of a gap for us to then move back to 40 cents. But I'm just not sure of the time frame here on how quickly we can get to there. Getting back above 30 cents would put us in a much safer area, because even if we get a bounce and we test 30 cents and move lower, really our next big support level, true support level, is down to 15 cents. So we could still see more downside here for Ripple, no doubt about it. Let's go ahead and take a look at NEO, see what's going on. We're going to take a look at the Bittrex chart here. NEO has been one of the stronger altcoins, lost a lot of its strength, and right now, no real signs of recovery, still downtrending on all fronts. I think our next stop is going to be $13 here for NEO, and at that point I expect some good stabilization and a potential recovery. Let's take a look at EOS next, see what's going on. EOS, of course, one of the star altcoins early this year, and is now, just suffering just as much as any other altcoin out there. So we're slightly below our 8,000 Satoshi support level. I think that we are heading down to 7,000 Satoshis next. That's the next support area where I think we might be able to stabilize a bit. And we'll see from there depending on how strong the altcoins are. Let's take a look at Stellar, see what's going on. So Stellar is, I need to draw out this downtrend line a bit more, and you'll see that we do have a pretty clear-cut symmetrical triangle formation. So basically these two trend lines form our symmetrical triangle. The end of that is at right around 3,400 Satoshis, and I actually have a feeling that we're going to reach the end of that formation, meaning that we won't actually move below our uptrend line, move below our downtrend line or move above our uptrend line. I really think that we're going to stay in the symmetrical triangle formation range up until what looks to be, early November, and then either break towards the upside or downside. I'm pretty hopeful that late in the year we're going to get a bit of a run up, so I think that we can break towards the upside. But I expect Stellar to hold up much better than altcoins and basically, keep its ground right where it is now, basically with some up and downs, and then reach the end of the formation while staying in the symmetrical triangle. Let's go ahead and take a look at Liske. Liske has been one of my, I don't like Liske right now just because of its general weakness and lack of support levels right here. So it's at $2.85. I see no reason for a bounce right now. Indicators are weak. I think we're heading down to $2 next. Let's take a look at Cardano, see what's going on. Cardano showed some signs of recovery, and it is one of the more quality altcoins out there. I put it in a similar basket to Stellar in the sense that, it is holding up a bit better. It has some good fundamentals behind it, especially with that potential Coinbase listing, and that's why I think it'll be able to pull off a little bit better than other altcoins here. So let's take a look at Bittrex. Right now, Cardano is dropping below its uptrend line, and that could mean that we're going to see a bit of a drop. Our next predicted level would be 1,254 Satoshis. So we could test that level, definitely very possible, even somewhat of a likelihood just to close that gap. However, I have a hard time seeing it moving lower than that, right? But it is definitely, even though I said it has some advantages like Stellar, at the end of the day, it has some technicals here that aren't as good as Stellar, and we've seen that it just isn't holding up as well as Stellar. So Stellar is truly, an exception in this altcoin market right now. Let's go ahead, take a look at Iota, see what's going on. Iota is still pretty much in free fall mode, and I think that we won't be getting any type of bounce or stabilization until we reach that 33-cent support level. And the reason for that is that would kind of close a gap, basically putting us all the way back to where we had our initial run up. So it seems like we're wiping out all the gains of the run up that we had over the past couple months, right? So it can be concerning, right? It depends on how you look at it. You could look at it 1,000 different ways, so I'm not going to do that in this video. But that's where I think we're heading next, and that would, theoretically wipe out all the gains that we had over during the big run up, right? With that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.